You can wait outside, old man. We're full. That's what they told him, while he stood quietly under a sky that wept with relentless rain. He didn't argue, didn't complain, just stood there as the cold seeped through his thin jacket, soaking the collar and cuffs until it clung to him like another skin. But 20 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up. Out stepped a colonel, his gaze cutting through the room with military precision before his voice broke the low murmur of the waiting area. "Where's my commander?" If you believe the quiet ones often lead the loudest legacies, comment, respect below. It began as a gentle mist that Thursday morning, a whisper of rain that kissed the sidewalks and dampened the edges of newspapers held aloft by commuters. By noon, it had become a full-blown storm. Gutters surged with water, umbrellas turned inside out. Most people hurried for shelter, but not Gerald "Jerry" Banks. At 72, Jerry moved with the deliberate calm of a man who had seen enough in life to know that rushing rarely changed anything. His gait was steady, his breath even, as he approached the Veterans Medical Center. In his hand, worn and calloused, was an appointment card, the same one that had sat on his fridge for 3 months. A 2:15 p.m. checkup. Routine, yes. But the heart inside his chest had carried him through battles that textbooks couldn't describe. This checkup wasn't just protocol. It was peace of mind. Inside the clinic, the waiting room was bursting at the seams. Veterans of every age sat shoulder to shoulder, some in wheelchairs, others with service dogs at their feet. A television mounted on the wall played a news channel no one could hear, its captions a blur of updates and urgency. Jerry approached the reception desk, his jacket dripping onto the linoleum. The young receptionist, managing 3 blinking phone lines and a perpetually ringing extension, looked up just long enough to say, "Name?" "Gerald Banks. I have a 2:15 appointment with Dr. Levine." She tapped rapidly on her keyboard, her brow furrowing. "I'm not seeing anything here." Jerry gently slid the damp appointment card toward her. "It was scheduled months ago. Every 6 months with Dr. Levine." She checked again. "Ah, you were rescheduled. There was a system notice sent out last week." "I didn't receive anything." His voice was calm, not frustrated, just factual. She sighed, not unkindly, but clearly exhausted. "I'm sorry, Mr. Banks. We're at full capacity today. There's really nothing I can do." Behind him, the line of veterans grew. The rain outside, audible through the glass, had intensified. "When can I be seen?" "You can reschedule for next week, or—" She glanced at the packed seating area. "You could wait outside, and if someone doesn't show, maybe we can squeeze you in. But honestly, tomorrow would be better." Jerry gave a small nod. "I'll wait." "Sir, we really don't have room inside," she added gently. "With this weather—" "I understand," he said, already turning away. The words followed him like a door closing. "You can wait outside, old man. We're full." He didn't flinch. No umbrella, no hat, just the rain and a thin jacket. He found a bench under the overhang, hardly shelter, as the wind drove sheets of water sideways. Still, he sat, quiet, still, waiting. A nurse hurried past, barely noticing the soaked man except for a flicker of sympathy in her eyes. A security guard stepped out for a smoke and noticed him. "Nasty day," the guard said, lighting a cigarette. "You okay, Pop?" Jerry gave a nod. "Tough break," the guard added, shaking his head. Then he flicked his cigarette into the gutter and went back inside. What they didn't know was that the silent old man sitting outside in the rain once commanded entire operations. That he'd made decisions in seconds that meant life or death. That he had bled for his country more than once and had been decorated for heroism under circumstances still hidden in classified files. Inside, the day rolled on. Names were called. Pills were dispensed. Forms were filled. Melissa Weller, a junior staffer in admin, was filing charts when she heard the receptionist mention his name. Had to send an old guy named Banks outside to wait. Scheduling mix-up. Melissa froze. Banks. The name echoed like a note struck deep in her memory. Her father, retired Colonel James Weller, had spoken that name with respect. Reverence, even. She approached the desk. "Did you say Gerald Banks?" The receptionist nodded, eyes still on her screen. "Yeah, older guy. Vet, do you know if he served in Iraq? Operation Iron River?" "No clue. Why?" Melissa didn't answer. She stepped away and pulled out her phone. "Dad," she texted, "there's a veteran here named Gerald Banks sitting outside in the rain. Wasn't that the name of your commander in Iraq?" 3 minutes passed. Then her phone lit up. "Where exactly? Is he still there?" "Don't let him leave. I'm coming." She looked out the window. Jerry hadn't moved. The rain continued to fall as if it had something to prove. She informed her supervisor. "I think we may have a situation." 22 minutes later, the low rumble of a government-issued SUV sliced through the storm. It parked illegally, without hesitation. Colonel James Weller stepped out, uniform crisp, posture straight despite the weather. He walked straight through the entrance, past the front desk. Conversations fell silent. He stopped in the middle of the waiting area, surveyed the room, and spoke. "Where's my commander?" The receptionist looked up, startled. "I'm sorry?" "Commander Gerald Banks," the colonel said clearly. "Where is he?" The supervisor appeared. "Sir, may I help you?" "You let Commander Banks sit outside, in the rain." "There was a scheduling error. We're full today." "A scheduling error," Weller repeated, his voice like granite. "So you put a decorated combat commander out in the rain, like a stray dog." Melissa stepped forward. "Dad, he's still out there." The colonel gave a single nod, then addressed the room. "That man out there saved my life, and the lives of 11 others. Fallujah, 2003. Our position was overrun. He stayed behind so we could get out, refused medevac until every last soldier was safe, and you couldn't find him a chair." The waiting room had gone silent. Nurses stopped moving. Veterans stared at the floor. Dr. Harris, the center director, entered the room, sensing the weight in the air. "Colonel Weller," he said, extending a hand. "I'm Dr. Harris." "The situation," Weller cut in, ignoring the handshake, "is that Commander Banks has been sitting in a downpour for 47 minutes because your staff couldn't accommodate a scheduling error." Dr. Harris tried to maintain composure. "We operate under strict capacity guidelines, but I'm sure—" "Operation Iron River, Iraq, 2003, Weller said firmly. "You'll want to pull up the records." Melissa was already typing. The military record system flickered to life. Moments later, the screen displayed a dossier. "Commander Gerald Banks," Melissa read aloud. "Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart, Silver Star nominee, Commander of Rapid Response Unit 7, led successful extraction under enemy fire. Wounded during operation, refused medevac, trained over 300 junior officers, developed tactical protocols still in use, voluntarily deployed to Afghanistan at 54 as senior tactical advisor." The room was frozen. Outside, Jerry sat unmoving. Without another word, Colonel Weller turned and walked outside. Rain pelted his shoulders. Jerry looked up, blinking through the water. "James," he said hoarsely. Weller saluted. A perfect, precise salute reserved for superiors. "Commander Banks." Jerry returned it, hand trembling. "At ease, Colonel. This ain't a parade ground." "No, sir. But some men deserve ceremony, rain or shine." Weller extended an arm. Jerry took it. Inside, faces watched through foggy glass as the colonel escorted the soaked veteran to the SUV. Dr. Harris came running with an umbrella. "Commander Banks, please, we had no idea." Jerry looked at him, calm, measured. "The rain falls on everyone the same, Doctor," he said. The difference is who notices who's getting wet. He stepped into the vehicle. The following Tuesday, a new sign appeared above the Veterans Medical Center entrance. Veterans are always welcome, rain or shine. And beneath it, a small plaque, dedicated to Commander Gerald Banks, whose silence taught us more than words ever could. New policies followed. No veteran would wait outside again. Training modules emphasized treating all veterans with dignity, regardless of age or attire. 3 weeks later, Jerry returned, not for an appointment, but carrying a box. The receptionist froze. I'm so sorry. Water under the bridge, Jerry said. He placed the box on the counter. Inside were brand new jackets. For any veteran who comes in unprepared, winter's coming. As he turned to leave, the nurse who once passed him in the rain stopped him. Commander Banks, why didn't you tell us who you were? Jerry smiled, soft and knowing. Because I wanted to see who you thought I was without the medals. How people treat the nameless tells you more than how they treat the famous. Since that day, every new employee receives a folder. Inside it is a brief essay titled, "The Commander Who Waited in the Rain." The final line reads, "The quietest person in the room may be the one with the most to teach. Listen before you decide who deserves your attention." Subscribe to Ironheart Stories if you believe real leaders don't speak first, but when they do, the world listens.